Good afternoon, Patriots. It is Saturday, March 26th, 2016, and this is the Fred Brauer Report. Facts versus fiction, logic versus chaos, and critical thinking versus useless, emotional propaganda. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. First on the agenda today, and when I saw this for about 5 seconds, I really could not believe it, but it absolutely does not surprise me now that I think about it. There is a new movement. It's called Vote Trump, Get Dumped. They have a website, they have a Facebook page. She, assuming, obviously, a leftist, feminazi, VoteTrumpGetDumped.com. And if you haven't seen this, I'll read it to you really quick. Actually, hearing it read to you might resonate more than actually seeing it. But please go look at the website anyway for your own twisted amusement. Hashtag Vote Trump Get Dumped. Those who vote Trump should understand this. No sex, no dates, no chance. Emphasis on the first words, of course. No sex. To cast a vote for Trump is to agree with his sexist, perverted, demeaning, backwards, offensive treatment of women. Learn what's at stake. Join us by wielding your influence until Trump is defeated. We don't date, sleep with, or canoodle with Trump supporters. Excuse me. It ends with, the Greeks did it. Women during the temperance movement did it. This is a tried and true method of getting men's attention when they're being dumb. Now, whether you support Trump or not is irrelevant. Doesn't matter if you're a Cruz fan, Kasich fan, I don't care what candidate you're supporting. This is pathetic. Instead of waging an intellectual argument on policy, with dignity, with intellectual capability and creative thinking, these far-left feminazis or feminazi is going to use her vagina as a political weapon. Guys, I tell you what, I don't know about you, but if my girlfriend or my wife or my fiance tried to manipulate and control my vote with her vagina, I'd be looking for my suitcase. Or I'd be handing her her suitcase. It's time to man up, fellas. Because I tell you what, if this is effective and this works on you, you're a male voter, and this works on you, and your woman is able to dictate your vote with her vagina, you got much bigger problems than what your political aspirations or what your political choices are. It is time to demonize the stupid, demonize the left-wing, controlling, dictating, Nazi Gestapo tactics like this, ridicule them, shred them, discredit them, and eliminate them from the process. The election process that used to have some kind of dignity. Enough on that, because I quite frankly don't even care to discuss it anymore. But I will say this, and this goes to Trump and Cruz both, and their supporters. This election process is becoming a bad episode of reality TV. The National Enquirer, the memes, the nasty, disgusting, tasteless pictures of Melania Trump and Heidi Cruz. I made a clear statement on my Facebook page a few days ago. If I see it on my Facebook page, if I see it on my Twitter account, if I see it on any of the other websites I frequent, I'm blocking you. I am blocking you. It is time for the American people to stand up, rise up, and demand some dignity in this election process, on social media, and from mainstream media. This is getting ridiculous. It's childish. It's immature. It's undignified. It's unprofessional. And I don't know why the American people are standing for it. As a matter of fact, from what I can tell, a large majority of the American population are thriving on it. They like this garbage. This tabloid mentality infecting what used to be a dignified process of electing the President of the United States. What have we become? Stop it. Stop. My goodness, people. Facts, logic, critical thinking, intellectual thought, reasoning, research. Come on, let's get back to some dignity here. If you see this garbage on your social media account, block the user, block the poster, call it out, discredit it. I have an article I want to read to you from my very good friend, Kevin Jackson. You have probably read his material on the Blacksphere. He's a writer on the Blacksphere. Kevin Jackson is a Fox contributor. He's on Fox quite often. Very brilliant, very intelligent African-American gentleman with a very high capacity for logic and critical thinking. I want to read this article to you because, in my opinion, it is absolutely priceless, and I would like to see this happen. And I think when it does, the whole tone of Trump's campaign is going to change. Now, mind you, before you jump to conclusions when I read this argument, like I have said many, many times, I've not made up my mind yet, okay? Just because I support a position of Trump's or I support a position of Cruz's, that is not an automatic open endorsement, okay? We, the American people that are involved in this election process, in this campaign process, we need to stop with the knee-jerk jumping to conclusions. Both candidates, in my opinion, have a long list of admirable qualities and political positions that I admire and that I concur with. But I'm still making up my mind. I personally, in the state of Maryland, I have until April 26th to make up my mind who I'm going to vote for. Whether it be Cruz or whether it be Trump. But as I've said dozens of times now, come November 8th, I will vote for the Republican nominee. That's another shout out, again, to those of you that say you will refuse to vote if it's Donald Trump, or you will refuse to vote if it's Ted Cruz. Now, on to the article. Once again, this is written by Kevin Jackson. Here we go. The left has a one-word fear of Trump. Kevin wrote this March 25th, 2016, just a few days ago. 2 days ago, as a matter of fact. Yesterday. Donald Trump resonates with lots of America. How much? We can only guess. But what the left and even the Republican establishment fears the most is who Trump resonates with. The media and the left would like to portray Trump as a one-trick pony. The only people supporting him are racist whites. A miscalculation, and one that I predict, if Trump is selected as the GOP nominee, will come back to haunt the left. Trump has what neither Hillary nor Bernie have, and will never have. Trump has diversity. Diversity is nothing new to Republicans, as it was on full display with our candidates. The rich old white guys club was painfully obvious. Hillary Clinton's questionable genitalia notwithstanding. But what Trump has the ability to do is showcase this. Presently, with the calls of Trump's racism by the left, he is only frittering around the edges. His responses to the whole thing has been, they are hooligans, not my supporters. But at some point, Trump will get it and begin attacking the true sacred cow of the left. No, not Hillary, but I do understand your thinking. And that sacred cow is racism. Recently, the New York Times decided to visit a Trump rally and reported, quote unquote, for a campaign frequently depicted as offering a rallying point for the white working class, the people volunteering to help Mr. Trump here are noteworthy for their ethnic diversity. They include a young woman who recently arrived from Peru, an immigrant from the Philippines, a 70-year-old Lakota Indian, a teenage son of Russian immigrants, a Mexican American, etc., etc. More so than any GOP candidate, Trump has the ability to squash the racism narrative. And like he did with Hillary Clinton's war on women narrative about Trump, he has the potential to have yet another false narrative blow up in Hillary's well-worn face. Trump is speaking to people's real problems: lack of jobs, drained retirement funds. He speaks to people who have lost their homes or are in danger of being homeless for the very first time in their lives. These people are broke, and as the saying goes, sick and tired of being sick and tired. They have watched as the left demagogues everything, from voter ID for blacks to immigration being good for America. And they are tired of the uselessness of the Republican establishment, who propagate the lies of the left instead of fighting for the everyday American. I think we've come to the conclusion that our country is falling apart, and we have to take care of it, said Mariah Linsky, 55, a Cuban-born Jewish woman. These people fear the invading horde of Mexicans, as well as the potential jihad of Muslims. These are smart people who are no longer buying the lies of the left. Regardless of the who wins, this is good for conservatism. And once again, that is Kevin Jackson of the Blacksphere. Hillary and Bernie both, their whole platform is to pander to minorities. When asked if all lives matter or Black Lives Matter, Bernie Sanders did not hesitate in saying Black Lives Matter. The Democrats have made a habit, they have made a profession of dominating the black vote. They have made a profession of pandering to Hispanics and trying to dominate the Hispanic vote. This is why the border is still open. This is why Barack Obama refuses to do anything about the border, because the Democrat Party is banking on getting a Hispanic and black majority in this country to dominate the White House for the next several decades. And this is what needs to blow up in their face. As far as the border goes, which is the next topic I want to get into, the open border, the open Mexican border, is much more than just an immigration problem. Heroin use and methamphetamine use have skyrocketed in the past 5 years. And this is partly because of the legalization of marijuana nationwide. Almost half of the country now pot use is not even an issue. And in many, many states, it is in fact legal, which in turn did a lot of damage to the pot business south of the border. So what did they do? They replaced it with heroin and methamphetamine production and distribution, the majority of which goes right into the United States across the southern border. Right now as we speak, and I put something on this about the methamphetamine production in Mexico on my Facebook page this morning. One cartel in particular, and this is one out of at least a dozen. One cartel in particular is making over $12 million a year simply on methamphetamine production and distribution within the United States of America. That's just one cartel and one drug. Heroin use is up 100% among males in the United States of America. It is up 150% among females in the United States of America. And 90% of it is coming into the United States through Mexico. Immigration is not the only problem with the Mexican border. According to the DEA, an Islamic camp was discovered last April by Mexican authorities 15 miles from the Texas border. An ISIS camp. The Mexican border is not just an immigration issue. It is a national security threat. But Hillary and Bernie and most every other politician in D.C. refers to Mexico as our ally. Let me ask you something, patriots. What kind of ally permits drug cartels in its country to mass produce methamphetamine and heroin and ship it into the United States? What kind of government that profits on that and is in collusion with several cartels within its own country? What kind of ally permits that? Let me tell you something, folks. Mexico is no ally of the United States. Excuse me. And the sooner the American people demand that that border be closed, the better. This is one of my biggest pet peeves, and I think right now it is possibly, aside from repealing Obamacare, our border with Mexico, in my opinion, is at the very, very top of the list of things that are destroying the United States of America. That border is allowing for ISIS to walk in. It's allowing for drugs to walk in by the ton, destroying our population, getting our population addicted. Crime is rampant with methamphetamine and heroin, not to mention Adderall. That's another big one that's coming in. Mexican cartels are pumping Adderall into the country. If you don't know what Adderall is another, it's a stimulant. It's another amphetamine. In the country, if you have the proper need for it, it's available by prescription. But Mexican cartels are pumping it into the country, the United States, illegally. I am trying to decide which candidate is going to, in fact, close that border. I'll make up my mind by April 26th. But I will say this. Donald Trump was absolutely right. Mexico is not sending its best and its brightest across that border. There are thousands and thousands of illegal immigrant criminals coming across that border every day. And the country is full of illegal immigrant criminals with multiple felonies that have been deported many times. Look at Kate Steinle. I forget that immigrant's name, but he had how many felonies? Six or seven? I'm sorry, he was deported 6 times. I believe he had 3 felonies on his record. Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. He shouldn't have been here. He shouldn't have been in here with 1 felony, and he should have been deported only 1 time. That's about all I have for today, folks. Tomorrow is Easter. Enjoy your family. Have a great time tomorrow. Happy Easter. Next week, I will be interviewing the owners, excuse me, the owners and creators of Freedom Home for the Forgotten, John and Vanita Pate. Please tune in for that. We will hear the story of Freedom Home for the Forgotten from start to finish. Everything they're doing, everything they need. So please tune in for that. It's a fabulous, really wonderful thing that John and Vanita Pate are doing. Spending their own money, their own time, their own effort to get our homeless veterans off of the street, of which there are 50,000 of them, as you know. Questions, comments, news stories from your part of the country, please send them to fredforwethepeople@gmail.com. And please include your name and what state that you live in. I always intended the Fred Brauer Report to be the eyes and ears of conservative America as much as possible. So if you see something, send it to me. Let me know what's going on in your town, in your state, in your county, in your area, in your schools. Let's blow the lid off of progressivism. Let's blow the lid off of this Marxist agenda and expose it for what it is. And if you see it, you witness it, gather up the facts, gather up the times, the dates, and get it to me. Get it to me and I will air it out for you. I am a completely independent journalist and broadcaster. I answer to no one. I have no corporate sponsors. I don't work for anyone. I work for we the people. This is you, conservative, patriotic America. I do this for you. So if you like what you hear, you like what I say, you like how I think, please feel free to help me out. You can donate to the Fred Brauer Report at www.gofundme.com/FredKKRP. You can also see me on www.facebook.com/FredFreeUSA. Twitter, same thing, /FredFreeUSA. And all of my blogs and all of my videos are on patrioticwarriors.com, vigilantpatriots.com, and teapartycommunity.com. Folks, thanks again. Have a wonderful, wonderful Easter, and I will see you again bright and early Monday morning. Don't forget, next week, interview with John and Vanita Pate, Freedom Home for the Forgotten. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.